the woman who denounced the entire industry for its gutlessness and its creeps and its rip-offs and its lack of Canadian consideration, has, unfortunately, off the line now. Every word she said was right.
Absolutely.
Every word she said was right.
I agree with that.
Every word she said was right.
To a certain point, but steps have been taken very recently to try and
Didn't your buddy Mass
things
set up
around.
a task force to look at this openly and honestly for a change?
Yes, and probably one of the most representative industry task force ever set up for any industry, because it is largely only 2 members out of the 9-member task force are from the government side. The other 7 are from the private sector, so it is really an industry looking at itself.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Hello?
That's you, sir.
Yes, I'd like to refute this chap who said he was from 20th Century Fox and stated that 96% of the crew was from LA. I'm working on that picture. I have the cast and crew list in front of me. We have 78 crew that are Canadian. We come from Alberta, British Columbia, from Toronto, Montreal. They're from all over Canada. There are 12 Americans, which include the producers, associate producers, the director, executive production manager. There are a cast of 35, of which 21 are Americans. Most of them are of some renown.
Right.
The remainder are Canadian actors, local, and from Toronto.
Well, that's almost dead on 10 or 12%, and I'm glad you called, and I accept your figures.
All right, and we would like to thank Brent Clackson and the Film Production Office for the work they do for us.
Much obliged. Thank you very much. That was a good call. Go ahead, please.
Yes, you know, I'm one of the lonely Americans working on that production also. I happen to be off today. And I'm not really lonely because the Americans are so friendly and cooperative and such nice people to be with. But I'm astonished at the individual who phoned in sounding very truthful with a bald-faced lie. And that's the kind of thing that wrecks civilization. These people who put their own sometimes vicious attitudes ahead of the truth and,
Which
you know,
bald-faced-
turn it around. It's
what's the bald-
astonishing to me what that man did.
What's the bald-faced lie?
He said that there were 98% Americans on the crew, and it simply is not true.
We just had a verification of that, too.
This is your second verification, and I'd like to say that Mr. Simpson is right on track. I think the distribution is the solution to the thing for Canada, ultimately. That'll take a long time, but in the meanwhile, even though there may be some dissension among the people that he's talking with about how to go about all this, I think a good first-class facility up here will attract Hollywood production. It'll enhance Canadian production. I think it's a very important thing to find some money for.
Yeah, but you must agree.
You got to raise money for both, is what I'm saying, both distribution and a facility.
You must agree that what makes Canada and BC attractive to you at the moment is the dollar rate of exchange.
No, not only that. It's a wonderful thing to have a common language so that it, you know, an out-of-town crew can function. And there are a lot of unique locations up here. There are a lot of reasons for filming in Canada that Canada BC can compete pretty good photographically with most of the states that Mr. Simpson spoke of.
Thank you very much for your call, Americano.
Pleasure to be able to call there.
Bye. No, it's too late to say. Yes, say it.
Well, I just want to say that there's a misconception that the only reason they're shooting up here is because of the dollar difference.
Yeah.
We've been told on a continuous basis by producers that even if the dollar was on par, they would still be shooting here. The crews work for a lot cheaper. They like the attitude of the crews, they like the professionalism of the crews, and they also like the amounts of locations they can find here and the cooperation that they're getting within the community, which is a very important factor too.
Go ahead, please.
Hello, Jack.
From Penticton.
Right, Alderman Ron Bakes, Penticton Film Location Committee.
Oh, looking for a plug.
Brent knows me well, and I wanted to get a point across and dispel the old myth that everybody seems to promote. Everything doesn't have to begin and end in Vancouver. We have an excellent facility available right here in the Okanagan Valley, the best scenery in the world, and to top it off, and I think this is in line with some of the comments that have been made, we have asked Okanagan College to add to their curriculum a training course for technicians, producers, writers, directors, and all the rest of it. And that is currently under consideration. And if that goes through, I can tell you that that outhouse that's called the Dominion Bridge Plant in Vancouver wouldn't be considered for a minute. We've got a 90,000 square foot building, a modern building available right now, sitting on a 14-acre site in Penticton, And I'd like to know what Mr. Simpson thinks about the idea of going elsewhere other than Vancouver and taking advantage of everything that's available in the rest of British Columbia.
Okay, briefly.
Well, we did that with our previous film, which we shot in a little town called Marysville, which just recently has been incorporated by Kimberley. So we were shuttling between Cranbrook, Marysville, and Kimberley, and did not come to Vancouver for our first film.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead, please.
Hello there, Jack.
Yeah.
I don't know why these people come up here and shoot movies and are allowed to leave without paying their bills.
Oh, which group didn't pay their bills?
Okay, I was an extra on a movie, made-for-TV movie called In This Sign in mid-September. And, well, it's going on November now, and I still haven't been paid. So I've been calling around. So I finally called the BC Promotion Board, and I find out that not only I didn't get paid, nobody else of the extras got paid, and that people from another movie that was shot from Walt Disney called The Boy Who Could Fly, that was done in June and August, haven't been paid either.
Okay, hold it.
Why they can leave.
Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am. This gentleman phoned the other day and told us his story. We phoned Extraordinary Casting, which is a company here in Vancouver who handles the hiring of all extras on films. This is the first time that this has ever happened, and I've been told by Extraordinary Casting that the money is indeed coming.
The money is coming.
They will be
The check's in the mail.
Yeah, the check is in the Canadian mail.
Why can they leave without paying the bills? I mean, the check's in the mail is the oldest joke in the world.
Tell me, how much do they owe you?
Excuse me?
How much do they owe you?
Oh, about 150 bucks.
Good enough. If you don't get it, give me a shout again. We'll chase them up. Go ahead, please.
I certainly agree with that lady caller that you just had on. I'm a disgruntled investor in Canadian movies of some substance.
And that was more than $50,000.
A lot more than $50,000, and I was attracted to it for a couple of reasons. One was, you bet it was a tax shelter. Secondly, it looked like a good investment. It had a hell of a cast. Patty Duke was in it, and it was filmed right here. It had Saul Rubinek, who was Better Things.
By design.
By design. By design?
Called By Design.
Right.
And it just went to nothingness, right?
Right, and you know, as far as people like me are concerned, you know, I thought the producer had substantial credits behind her, and I think I saw the movie, and I personally am critical. But I thought that there's a lot worse movies out there than what I saw, you know, in this.
But it didn't have the distribution.
Yeah, the problem was it didn't have the distribution.
Yeah.
Okay, boy,
I
sorry
tell you
about...
what, I think that there should be an investigation. Because not from the producer standpoint,
One his number.
from the distribution standpoint. There's two sets of books.
Okay, much obliged. Take one last call. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Jack.
You're speaking from Rossland.
You betcha. You want some snowballs?
Never mind the snowballs, just carry on.
Anyway, enjoying your show this morning, Jack, and my compliments to a gentleman on the set, and to you also. And I've never seen you so quiet for a long time as when that lady was on there. I've never seen you so quiet in my life. And the Webster fan club up here, though, watches you every morning. We're having a great time this morning.
How big is the Webster fan club?
Oh, we've got 5 or 6 here.
Do you think I should play in this high-stakes movie?
Oh, I think you should do a really good part of 007.
We've generated more heat than light, but we did come to some fascinating information. And the facts are that you people do not a bad job of encouraging the Yankees.
Thank you very much.
You want the Yankees to stay here, but you want made in Canadian movies, primarily made in Canada movies with Canadian money and the profits to stay here.
I'd like to see an industry.
An industry. And you want some work for your people.
Sure.
Good fun this morning.
Okay.
I was quiet this morning because it's not really a subject I know a hell of a lot about, even though I'm about to star in a bit part in a movie called High Stakes. Maybe.
I think it's a bit higher than a bit part.
I'm going to consult my local witch doctor about whether I should or not when he comes up now. His name is Serge King, and he's a big kahuna after the break. Somebody phoned me the other day and asked me if I wanted a witch doctor on around Halloween. Well, it's not quite Halloween, so I said, yeah, send the witch doctor. Might be good for a couple of minutes of light relief. And what I got which may or may not be a witch doctor, is Serge King, who's a healer. I skimmed through the book, and it seems that he's kind of like my old buddy Shirley MacLaine, and that he believes in psychokinesis, what's the other thing? Reincarnation. Is that right?
To a degree, yes.
You're a witch doctor.
Well, I studied with African witch doctors for about 7 years, and I know how to do what they do,
you're-
so
Oh, can you behave as a witch doctor?
I could do that, yes.
What could you do for me as a witch doctor?
Well, the main thing that I do is teach people how to use that knowledge for themselves.
Well, teach me a little bit of knowledge I can use for myself. And I'm not going to pay for anything, by the way.
No,
You
this
don't
is
charge for your services.
not for teaching things like this. There's so many things that people can do for themselves that are so simple and so easy. And so, sure, I'm glad to give this out.
But I want it to be interesting and dramatic and exciting. And don't just tell me that all I have to do is to concentrate and release
no.
my inner being.
No.
Because I've got lots of inner being and lots of confidence and lots of BS, you know, and I can generally do what I set out to do.
Good. Now, that's exactly what you need to be able to do these other things.
What other
That's
things?
Well, like healing, for instance, healing yourself. You know, you described me as a healer, but actually what I do is teach people how to use their own healing abilities.
This is witch doctor. I do not.
If you
You're a
like.
dangerous man if you can tell me that I can take somebody who's sick here and heal them.
Now, I'm telling you, you can heal yourself, and you can have a good healing effect on someone else. Yes.
You mean a good influence on somebody
Good
else.
influence on someone.
But
a
if
healing
somebody's got a
influence.
broken leg, I can't cure the broken
I
leg.
would go to a surgeon for that.
Or if somebody's
definitely.
got a very bad stomach pains and tension.
You can help it.
That's just
You
psychosomatic.
can help
of
it.
course.
No, I'm talking about even if it's physical. Of course, in this knowledge that we're talking about, there isn't any division between what's mental and what's physical. You know, it all is integrated. And so even if someone has a very physical ailment, there's a mental and emotional aspect to that. And that part you can help.
Isn't that what I should go to a psychiatrist about?
Now, a psychiatrist isn't going to teach you how to use your own healing energy in your hands, for instance.
Isn't that what I should do by myself, to myself by self-hypnosis?
Self-hypnosis is a great technique, and a lot of the African witch doctors use it.
My father, who was not an African witch doctor, used to get up every morning and he would do his yoga, deep breathing. You know, he did that at night. And in the morning he would say, every day, in every way, I feel better and better.
Emile Coué's statement, yes.
That's the same kind of stuff, isn't it?
Here's the thing, if you believe it, saying it doesn't do anything unless you begin to believe it. And that's the basis for the Kahuna knowledge in Hawaii, for the witch doctor knowledge, for all of these healing systems. If you can do something to actually believe it, then it's going to work.
It's like meditation.
Yes, if you believe in it, and if you if you use it to relieve the stress and allow your own energy to flow, yes, then it's effective.
So when a guy calls you a shaman, it's really, you're not a shaman at all.
Yes, a shaman is a person who works with the forces of nature and the powers of mind to do, it can be healing of the body or it can be healing of circumstances.
Well, do you believe in psychokinesis?
Oh, yes.
What
I've
is psychokinesis again?
This is the movement of an object, let's say, by using the mind, which you're actually using mind-directed energy, but with no physical intervention.
I have seen psychokinesis done by a little fella called Uri Geller,
Right.
who, however, has been widely denounced as a fake everywhere else in the world.
I've seen it done by many people, including a friend of mine who taught 700 people how to bend spoons with psychokinesis. This is something that can be done. It takes focus and it takes energy. It takes the mind and energy to do.
Oh, I was very impressed with Geller, but I don't think that psychokinesis is really a practical proposition.
It's only practical from the point of view of what it shows of what we can do with our mind. Now, if you can use energy to bend a spoon, then you can use energy to heal an organ. It's a very similar kind of thing.
Now you're getting into dangerous territory, because if somebody goes to the doctor and they're told they have a dysfunction of their liver, it's not safe to go home and say, I'm going to heal it myself by my mind.
If I were going to, if somebody were going to do that, to completely deny the doctor is just outright silly. What you do is you use the mind and your energy in conjunction with other kinds of healing. You don't have to separate them. The point is to get healed.
So all you do is say every day and every way, I'm getting better and better, and believe it.
Yes, if you can do that, but you can also use, let's say, your own physical energy. There was a movie, speaking of movies, called Karate Kid. And in the movie, there was a man in there, Japanese, who just brought his hands together like that and rubbed them and put them on the boy and helped to heal him. That works. Now, the degree of focus that you're able to use makes a great deal of difference as to how much energy you're putting out. But the fact is that that simple thing like that and rubbing the hands stimulates energy that you have in your hands, that everyone has. And when you apply that to an area that's not working well, let's say, in the body, why, you can bring a great deal of relief and possibly even heal it completely.
It's just as easy to take an aspirin, though, isn't it, which will dull the pain and remove it as well.
You don't get the side effects. You don't get the side effects. And the aspirin simply does.
Do you really believe that if you're in a plane which is in bad airspace, turbulence, that a partner, that a single passenger can take a deep breath, blend her energies with those of the wind, talks to it soothingly and smooths out the wind with her mind, and the turbulence will go away?
Yes, because we do it and the people do it all the time. It sounds very strange, but as human beings, we have such an interrelationship with our environment that is hardly recognized. And this is where this ancient knowledge, Africa, Hawaii, where else, becomes so very valuable, because we're, you know, as the people are beginning to realize, even in ecology, we're not separate from the environment. Well, our thoughts aren't separate from the environment either, and we do have an influence on it.
That's very interesting. I wish I could give you more time, Serge. Are you speaking in town?
Yes, we are.
Where?
I'm teaching some shamans here now, and we're also going to be giving a workshop in December.
In December?
Right.
A workshop. Do you charge for the workshop?
The workshop we charge for because it's, you know, very specialized training.
A lot of money.
No, it's very reasonable for what they're getting.
How much money?
There's a number that you can call, I can give you, and that person takes care of that. Because
Yeah, but you've got to warn people, you know, that it costs money to go to your classes.
That's right.
Leave your number here, and if anybody calls, I'll give it to them.
Okay.
My thanks to Serge King.
Thank you for having me.
Kahuna Healing. Seems a nice guy. I thought he was going to come in as some weirdo. I believe a little bit of it myself. After the break.
Okay.
Going to deal with a couple of odds and ends here, quite interesting, in the form of that's a fair question. Let's see the first one. How can ICBC refuse to pay on my truck insurance? I hired a driver to take a load to Fresno for me, and I never saw him or the truck again. In my book, that is theft. Now, the question is, did ICBC pay him for the theft of his truck? And I didn't know this before. ICBC tells us that they can refuse to pay you for the loss of your rig under Section 1322C of the Insurance Motor Vehicle Act. ICBC is not liable to indemnify individuals or employers who give use of a vehicle to a family member or in the course of employment. So, to Rocky Wilson, if an employee or even your own family steals your vehicle, you're out of luck, unless ICBC tells us that the Act is partly to protect the insurance corporation against collusion. And they caution every owner that they're responsible and to see that whoever gets the keys of your vehicle is a responsible person. You can protect against the loss of your property through an employee by taking out a bond, an insurance bond. The next one kind of broke my heart when the chap came into the office the other day. And I put his problem in the form of a question. I know where I can get a job, but the Teamsters won't let me work because I'm behind in my union dues. Is this fair? When the chap came to see me, he actually wanted to put the question that welfare should pay his union dues so that he could go up on the board and pick up work as a warehouseman from the Teamsters. But there are 40 to 50 men in the Teamsters 32 office every day at 5 o'clock in the morning looking for any work that happens to be available on a casual warehousing basis. So obviously the guys who get called first are the Teamsters with paid up union membership. Now this chap had left the province and he didn't get a withdrawal card. When you stop working for a union, if you get a withdrawal card, you can, in most unions, and I think the Teamsters is the same, you only need to pay half your union dues per month, which would be $12 instead of $24. Now, on the face of it, this guy had run up a bill for $600 in unpaid union dues. Now, even at that, if you have been a member of the union in good standing and you didn't take out your withdrawal card, you can ask to appear in front of the executive board, which has the right to waive dues or to make an accommodation if you had a good reason. This guy hadn't been to see the executive board when he came to see me, and I suggested he do that. So he's just really out of luck at this particular moment because of the heavy rate of unemployment in the paid-up union members because of the dispatch from the union hall. Now, that guy was serious when he asked me if I wanted to play a bit part in this movie, High Stakes. I'm just looking at it. Listen. This is me. Good morning, Bob. This is me again. Make me 3 copies. It's supposed to be some kind of television reporter of the Von Reich interview. But the thing that worries me about it is I see a bit here where the character I play gets badly beaten up. And I'm not so sure that I'm keen on even I am trapped helplessly in the grip of 2 thugs. The thugs punch and kick me. That doesn't sound very good, does it? Oh, what else? Oh, well, I'll consider it and get my agent to consult them. Any calls? Go ahead from Squamish.
Yes, Jack.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I just want to congratulate you on your film there, or your story there this morning about the film industry here.
Funny, I didn't think anybody would be interested in the story. It was Steve Wyatt who put the arm on me to do it.
Yeah, we've had a number of films that are have been shot up here in the Squamish area. They use quite a bit of local talent, and it gets some people a few days' work, if nothing else.
Did you work on it?
No, but I've had them working right in front of my shop.
Yeah, anyway, they wanted better-looking people than you, didn't they?
You can say that again.
Okay, boy, thanks for your call.
Okay, Jack.
All right. Go ahead, please.
Hi, Jack. Listen, this ALRT system that we have going through Vancouver and into New Westminster
Looks smashing.
It looks nice, but it's not going to look nice for long, Jack.
Why?
Because it's a breeding ground for violence and vandalism.
Oh,
no one on these to look after the public, and I'll make a prediction right now, Jack. Within a period of 6 months, they're going to be calling it the Spray Bomb Express. There's no security happening on these things.
Just what?
There's no security happening on these. There's no one in those. They're all computer operated. Old ladies and people that are defenseless are going to be on these, and you're going to have these idiots get on. I'm a cab driver. I know what Vancouver's like. And it's going to be one of the biggest problems we've ever had.
If it were to come to that, they would have to put people on the trains. That's all there is to it.
Okay,
if it
fine.
were to, but surely to God, we're sufficiently civilized at this particular moment that people can ride an ALRT driverless in reasonable security for quite some years yet.
You're a realist, Jack, and I know that's just by watching your show all the time.
Well, if it has to be...
On these things, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, there's going to be a lot of problems.
Look, I came from a town...
It's a fortune.
I came from a town where bus drivers wouldn't leave the depot on certain routes unless they had policemen standing beside them.
Mind you, that's the toughest town in probably the whole world. Glasgow.
Not anymore, not anymore. It was. But if the security is needed, security will be supplied. It's as simple as that. Go ahead from Port Hardy. Go ahead from Port Hardy.
Very good. I can remember when the film industry first started in Australia. The Australian people thought, it would never go ahead, and that because it was American-made.
But it's turned out to be the greatest success Australia's had in many years, and they're doing some great movies.
Yes, but when it first started, the local people had no confidence in it. It was just that the film industry had great
hopes. Well, hopefully guys like Simpson, Peter Simpson, can make a real job of it. Sorry I got to leave you. I'm at the end of the program. I'll be back after the break. Listen, there's been a washout on Brunette Highway. Brunette or Barnett, Jimmy? Barnett Highway. And there's been a rock slide north of Lions Bay at Squamish. The Noon News will cover it in full detail, so don't miss it. The contact for Serge King is 733-6873. Monday, we're going to deal with the Attorney General, and we're going to have Raymond Rowe here at 9 a.m. precisely. Non-smoking women are always ruder than men.
Definitely, absolutely.
I think it's the nature of the species.
I'm not an egg.
Oh, you are a nag.
I just stopped being suicidal.
Okay, love. She's a nag.
Take my cigarette away from me and I'll show you terrorism. I mean...
Whose cigarette?
That's my cigarette.
Mr. Simpson, would you kindly hand me your cigarette?
Oh, come on.
Just kindly hand me
Give
that
me a
cigarette.
break. Okay. With due respect to the
Thank you
the
very
host
much.
here.
It's not, I smoke under the table all the time, but we're hypocrites. We don't do it in public.